Today we're going to be discussing why I think the single action Army Revolver is the best farm pistol you can have on your hip while working out on your homestead. How's it going, guys? And welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. My name is Chad and this is the Hopeful Homestead. And in this series of videos, I like to sit out here in my little campsite or in my little tiny cabin on wheels and talk to all the husbands and dads out there about all the difficult things in life that we have to deal with as we're just trying to make it through. And today we're talking about why I think the single action Army Revolver, either an actual Colt or a Colt clone, is pretty much the best pistol you can have on your hip while doing farm work out on your land. Now, there's a lot of options, a lot of different ways you could go when it comes to what sidearm you want to have on your hip while you're out doing work. And I keep referencing while you're being out doing work because that's a key factor in the firearm selection. Because I'm not out doing something where I have hearing protection all the time. And in other videos, I've discussed why I've chosen 45 Colt as the cartridge I use to carry with me as I'm doing work out here on the property. The main reason being that it's not too loud to fire while not wearing hearing protection, because I have to actually deploy my firearms and use them out in the real world while doing work out here, and it happens fairly regularly. And the one time I did it with a 357 Magnum before I had started carrying 45 Colt, it nearly burst my eardrum and disoriented me so much that I couldn't continue doing any work that day. It was when I had to shoot a snake that was kept actually like following me and chasing me around. So I had to dispatch the snake. It was a huge water moccasin. It came out of one of the wetlands here. And while the 357 Magnum did blow its head off, it did take care of the threat. It completely just wrecked me for several days and I wasn't able to do any more work. So I realized real quick, 357 Magnum, while excellent ballistically and while a superior cartridge in a lot of ways to 45 Colt, was not a good real world in practice type of ammo to use out here on the property. Among many other reasons like over penetration and various things that 45 Colt has an advantage with, and that it won't over penetrate your target, but yet it's still heavy enough and got enough punch to it and with enough torque to take down a target of most sizes. And a single action Army Revolver, speaking of the devil here, a single action Army Revolver just, in my opinion, fits with 45 Colt. Yes, you can get these things in 38, 357. Some of them are made in 9mm, which just feels wrong. You can get them with 45 ACP, all kinds of things. 22 long rifle, I do have several of those for plinking that are just fun, that are also single action Army clones. But this right here, a 45 Colt single action Army Revolver, is just going to be what you can rely on and trust when you're doing work. The cartridge is reliable. It will do the job of taking down any wildlife pest that's coming onto your property. Unless you live in grizzly country, then you might need to use some heavy load 45 Colt or 454 Cthulhu or something, but it's in the same ballpark of what we're talking about here with 45 Colt. And you can't carry 45 Colt in a semi-auto pistol. You can't carry, big caliber, heavy load ammunition in semi-automatic guns. Revolvers have the added benefit of being able to deploy ammunition that is extra powerful and extra heavy for the job at hand. And for farm work out on your homestead, taking care of pests and wildlife threats and coyotes and all kinds of things that'll be wandering onto the property to try to get to your animals and your eggs and all the things that your crops, 45 Colt and a big old revolver is trusty for that. And yes, there are other versions of these big revolvers that are double action out there. And it wouldn't hurt to carry one of those as well. But for me, the simplicity of a single action revolver, of how it operates, of knowing that I can keep 5 rounds in here, which is more than enough paired with a lever gun, because that's also what I do when I'm out here. I have this as my true sidearm that's at the ready at all times, but within a few feet or arm's reach is my lever gun as well, which has more ammunition and obviously more accuracy and capability for when I can actually grab that in time if a threat is nearby. This revolver is just an extension of that lever gun in my opinion, because they share the same ammo as well. They share 45 Colt ammo, which is a big benefit to having a revolver and a lever gun that can work in tandem like that. And for me, the simplicity of a single action Army, it's easy to use, it's easy to operate, and the trigger on these is a beautiful, this is like I said, single action, so the trigger won't do anything unless I've got the hammer cocked. But the single action trigger on these is hairpin light because it's a single action revolver. So in reality, yes, in an instance where you've got something charging you, some sort of animal or threat charging you, and you need to get as many rounds off as you can, a double action revolver is better. But the trigger pull on a double action revolver is a lot heavier than the single action pull. Yes, you can pull the hammer on a double action revolver first to get the single action light trigger, but then you're doing the same thing you would have been doing with this gun. And so for me, I like being able to have something that is high quality, that works really well. I can just know through and through will be there for me in a pinch. And a single action revolver is simple design. It's not going to break down or have any problems operationally unless something truly goes wrong with it. But in general, there's a reason there's a lot of these guns that are still around from 130 years ago. My local gun shop in town has an 1800s 45 Colt caliber original single action Army Colt. That is for sale for like $4,500. I would love to own that gun. And it's got the original paperwork and documentation showing its ownership over the hundreds of years it's been around, which is pretty cool. I would love to have that thing. But for real world practice, this thing right here with the bird's head grip, this 5.5 inch barrel, it's incredibly accurate. I can hit a target from 50 to 100 yards with this thing fairly regularly, and it's just easy to use. And I can know that this can be with me because it's a single action Army. It will be simple in design and continue to operate properly without very much maintenance or cleaning, and it will continue to do so for decades. I'll be able to carry this on my hip, this same pistol, and rely on it for decades without having to worry about it malfunctioning or not working anymore. The more complicated a gun gets with double action or semi-auto, the more likely it's going to have problems over the long term. And so the simplicity of this design is such that when I get to use it and know it very well, I can deploy this very similarly to other firearms in the manner I choose to on my property. No, I don't carry this thing out into public as my way of defending my family when we're out in town. I have a double action snub nose revolver for that I carry in my pocket. But that thing's only a 38, and you know, when I'm out here doing farm work and I got 300-pound wild boar coming out at me, or cattle, bulls chasing me around my Bronco like I've mentioned before, or big old snakes coming at me, 45 Colt is very useful for all of those things as one single cartridge that works. And a single action Army revolver deploys that exceptionally well in tandem with a lever gun. And so for me, the simplicity and reliability of this platform is why I choose it. It is easy to use. It is just trusty and reliable. It always works, and it will be with me for decades. Unlike a lot of other firearms that are out there, this thing will still work 20, 30, 40 years from now and be the same revolver on my hip while I'm out here doing work. And that's part of that wood, steel, and soul I talk about in a lot of my videos, is that this thing is just got character through and through. It's trusty. It's been on my hip for over a year now, and it's gonna be on my hip when I'm out here doing stuff on my property for decades to come. And that's why I choose a single action Army revolver to be my sidearm of choice when I'm out here doing work on the homestead. But that's going to do it for this video today. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below what you think. And again, my name is Chad, this is the Hopeful Homestead, and if you feel like sticking around, there's a video right here that's going to be all about why I love revolvers and lever guns. Diving deeper into the subject of why I love these type of guns. So go click on that and I'll see you over there in that video. Thanks guys.